Annuncio vobis
I announce
gaudium
to you
magnum.
a great joy.
Habemus papam.
We have a pope.
Wasn't that electric, the scenes from the Vatican yesterday? History being made as the Catholic Church elected its first ever American Pope. Chicago-born missionary Robert Prevost will take the name, Pope Leo XIV. American by birth, Leo XIV spent much of his life ministering in Peru, and his message from the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica focused on peace. Let's go now to Rome, where we find none other than David Storey, was a producer here at CJAD and the Elias Macco Show for more than just a cup of coffee, but too short a time, David.
How's it going, Elias?
It's great, and it's great that you gave us some time this morning. I know you're in the big leagues now. You're working over at CBS News, and you took some time for us this morning. I really do appreciate it.
Of course, anything for you.
David, when did you get to Rome? How long have you been there?
So I got here early on Monday morning, and I can't really tell you how long I've been here because it has been a whirlwind since I hit the ground.
So since you hit the ground, take us through all of that. When you say it's been a whirlwind, bring our listeners into what you've been seeing and hearing over the last few days.
Sure. I mean, just so they know a little bit about what I'm doing here. So I'm a producer for CBS News. I work for our 24-hour streaming channel. And, my job is to make sure that we have reporters and contributors and voices in front of the camera so that we can bring this story to life for our viewers. And so my job here on the ground is to do just that. We're booking reporters, we're booking correspondents. There's a variety of American journalists that cover the Vatican, cover the papacy. They're here in Rome, and so they are contributors for our network. And so my job really has been to it's kind of like a bucket, right, with a hole, and we're getting voice after voice on air to bring this story to life. So hit the ground on Monday, and as I said, it's a bit of a blur because we've just been going very long days. Obviously, it's a 6-hour time difference to New York.
Yeah.
Where I'm based, and so everything shifts 6 hours, and so it's been long days, but it's been one of the most rewarding things that I've done in my career, and I've done a lot, and this is by far at the top of the list.
And I want to ask you about the surprise. I guess maybe one of the surprises, of course, we get the first American Pope, and I wonder, especially from your perspective, I think it was a 50-1 odds shot when you look at the betting markets. So that surprise, how much did it change your role and what you've had to do over the last 24 hours?
Well, just to that point that the odds on it being an American Pope were so low, we had a guest on this morning that had actually predicted earlier in the week that it would be Pope Leo. It would be an American Pope. And, I had a reporter standing next to me because we have multiple reporters on this roof at a convent just across the street from the Vatican. And they were reporting about people who had put bets on who would become the next pope and how much money they had won. And I wish I'd listened to that reporter a little closer earlier in the week. We played the sound back for him this morning, and he reacted to the fact that he got it right. And so, there is a lot of jubilation amongst reporters who cover the Vatican here, because a lot of them have come to Italy, made it their life, covered the Catholic Church, covered the papacy. One of the reporters today who I was speaking to said, this is going to be the end of my career. I'm going to end my career with an American Pope. And so there is so much excitement. And, it was very surreal, Elias, when the smoke came out and it was white, because we had the black smoke. And I think a lot of us was expecting we wouldn't get a Pope until maybe later in the day or even this morning. And so it almost came as a surprise, and everything kind of went quiet. And then just this jubilance from the square down below. And a lot of, there was a lot of American flags down there. There are a lot of Americans here in Rome, and just a level of excitement for this, first American Pope.
I got to ask you this, as you're describing everything, right, and the journalists that have been covering it forever and have been there and this kind of thing. I was thinking about the secrecy, right? The conclave, and it's shrouded in secrecy, and you got your producing shoes on, and I wonder how much was happening over the last few days behind the scenes especially once the conclave begins and the secrecy is supposed to start. Was there like a real effort to try and get inside information? Like, are people trying to work, like trying to talk to someone who's going in and out? Was there any of that going on, trying to get an inside edge?
No, not really. I didn't. Obviously, as a journalist, and as you know, we always are digging for facts, digging for the story. It was almost like we were here. Not almost. We were here to just witness history. And I think that our job was to show what was playing out here. And I'm not Catholic, but you could, Catholic or not, you cannot watch this spectacle and not be moved by it. It was there was times when we were waiting for smoke and the silence would just come across the Vatican Square, and all of a sudden then there would be clapping and cheering. They're trying to will the smoke out of the chimney, and then again it would go quiet. And so really what we've been trying to do is just bring this historic event to our viewers and show them what has been happening. And, you hear little things from people, our guests that come on, and they're like, well, this may have happened, this could have happened. And I'm sure if you're very connected with the Vatican, you may have got more information. But it wasn't one of our objectives. One of our objectives was really to share, who is going to be the next pope, which direction is the church going to go in. And for a lot of people, what is this process? How does it work? The secrecy. We've all seen the movie The Conclave.
Yeah.
So we have kind of an idea of what is going on in there. But, for many, that is kind of the vision that they have of what this process was like over the last couple of days.
When you said jubilation before, I got chills just thinking about the situation you were in and everyone who was in Vatican Square, what they were feeling. But let me ask you this, obviously, with the U.S. network, on the fact that he's the American Pope, and some people are saying this was a message from the cardinals, perhaps a political message directed at Donald Trump. Give me a couple of thoughts here on what you're hearing from the reporters, the journalists, the other guests you've had on that front.
Well, we've obviously seen that before Pope Leo was chosen, there was a tweet that he retweeted regarding our vice president. You remember our vice president was one of the last people to visit with Pope Francis. In America today, we have a new administration. It may at times become at odds with the Vatican. And so, this is something we're going to be closely watching, how this papacy will deal with the United States, what their relationship will be with the Trump administration. I'm actually, my full-time day job now is a political producer for CBS. So, this is something we're going to be watching very closely. We have an American Pope. He's not only American, he is a citizen of Peru as well, spent most of his life there. And so, obviously we're gravitating to the American part of that. And we'll see, with Pope Francis and his effort to make the church more progressive and be more vocal about certain issues, we'll see, how this plays out over the coming weeks and months.
David, listen, no time to go over the controversy over White Sox versus Cubs fan, but it's really tremendous, David, to hear your voice. We miss you here at CJAD, and thank you so much for taking a special time for us this morning.
Hey, no worries. You're very welcome. Thanks a lot.
David Storey, former producer right here at CJAD for a time, and now working at CBS News.